All right, I think I got it again. Let's really hope that I've been able to figure this out for the second day. G'day, everybody. I hope you're well. Yes, you are here with Mitch, and what a second day of athletics we had. For those of you who did jump in and watch along, I absolutely bombarded the living hell out of social media today. I uploaded that much stuff. I reckon I would have had 150 plus videos on there. So if you managed to stick in and watch it all, then my hat off to you. I was dribbling absolute nonsense for a long time, but what a second day of athletics. It was phenomenal. I was in there the full day, which was great because I wasn't in there too much yesterday. And there was so much going on. There was so much Aussie talent on display and also world talent. We'll get to that towards the back end of the night because the last hour of the night was absolutely insane. But let's get into the start of the day. So we did have plenty of Aussies on display, and we started with a really, really hot morning session. So our women's 3,000 meter steeplechase. I hope, just by the way, before I get into this, if you have any questions, if there's anything you want to ask, if there's anything you want to say to me, if there's anything whatsoever that you want to know about Eugene, feel free to just comment down there and I'll do my best to get back to it. Anyway, our women's 3,000 meter steeplechase, they started the day so well. They literally just set us up to thrive, realistically. Brielle Erbesha went in heat one. I'm so sorry if I've got your name pronunciation wrong. She had an 11th place with a 9:40.55. So she was only 7 seconds away from her PB. It was a little bit of weird conditions. Like, it was a little bit cold out there today, but heat number one, it was a little bit choppy. They couldn't quite figure out the rhythm early, and I thought Brielle did a really good job to put herself in a great spot, to be honest with you. She sort of stayed on that rail. She was just off the back of that pack for a long period of that heat and did a really, really good job when the kickers came and, you know, that sort of energy came through. She just couldn't quite roll with it, but I thought Brielle did an awesome job in heat number one. For heat number two, we had Amy Cashion. Now, Amy Cashion just threw caution to the wind. If you didn't catch heat number two, no, Baxter, you can't join the live video again. If you didn't catch heat number two, Amy Cashion just absolutely took it up to some of the world's best. She just sat in this beautiful little pocket for a little while and just managed to make the race come to her. And up the back straight on the bell lap, you thought it was a bullet out of a gun. She absolutely ripped the hinges off the door. It was phenomenal. She came through for an 8th, 9:21.44 to her name. So that was a 6-second PB at a global meet, in a large scale, at a meet where, you know, Amy Cashion has run NCAAs before. She's been to Eugene before. She knows what it's like to be in this environment. She was only a matter of 0.4 seconds in the end off being in that final. Obviously, Jen LaCars, we've had make this final before, but for Amy Cashion, she went to the Olympics last year. She's already improved on that 1 year later. So the potential for growth there is phenomenal. Amy, you blew the hinges off the door. I thought you ran phenomenally well. Cara Feenan Ryan in heat number 3. She ran a really gutsy race. Like, that race was just so choppy and changey. Like, you couldn't get rhythm. You couldn't find stride. I thought Cara did a really good job again. The girls hugged the rail quite well. And just when the kickers got going again, much like heat number 1 there for Brielle, just couldn't quite get the legs spinning to be at the front, but a 9:41.41, only 1 second off her season best and 3 seconds off her personal best. So I thought Cara did a really good job, and our women just set up the day. They just got this stuff sorted. They got it ready for the Australians to hit the day and hit it with pace. Now, move on to the women's high jump. Obviously, you saw that I posted a little bit of that on the page. It was a pretty cool experience watching the women's high jump. I'm going to be honest with you. It's one of my favorite events to watch, and it's just, it's really good that we are so good at it. Helena Patterson did not miss a height. She did not miss a singular height. She started off at 181, I believe, all the way through to 193, hit it on the first try every single time. She was awesome. She was so cool, calm and collected. She was just breezy at the way that she was going over it, and she never looked in doubt to miss one. Now, I'm so sorry. I'm 1,000% going to get this wrong because I am shocking with pronunciation. Nicola Olciegas, I'm going to say Olciegas, but again, I've probably butchered the living hell out of that. I'm so sorry. Formerly Nicola McDermott. Look, she was clean all the way up to the 190. She missed one at 190 and then had 3 cracks at the 193 to make it through to the final, and absolutely clutched the living shit out of it in that 193. Just like the crowd was so with her too. Like, I was standing next to an American, a Brazilian, and a Greek guy. That's like the start of a bad joke. Three of us walk into a bar, but they were just like rowdy as. Like, you would have thought that they'd grown up with her. Like, they were just so getting around every athlete and everybody, and particularly the Aussies. Like, we seem to have some sort of cachet on the track. Everybody seems to absolutely love the Australians when they're going at it. So, yeah, Nicola got over. We have two women through to the final then in that high jump. 193 was the clearance, and they both got through. Now, our men's 110-metre hurdles. Nick Hoff, the veteran, he's done 5 world champs. I didn't even realise that. Someone told me that today. It was actually Catherine Zoya, Sasha Zoya's mum, was telling me that, 5 world champs for Nick Hoff. And he just used that experience to get his way through. So he was in the second heat. He was 5th in his heat. 13:51 was the time that he ended up running. He qualified on time through to the semi-finals. So he gets another crack at it. He's in the third semi-finals, 3 of 3. So sometimes people think that's a little bit better because then you get to see what the rest of the field has done, and you can sort of not judge your race based off that, but you obviously know what you need to do. So he goes through. That's a really, really good effort, and that's a great reward for effort too. Nick Hoff has been such a staple of the men's 110-metre hurdles for Australia. So to get through to that next round, elite. Loved to see it. Chris Douglas, in his first international exposure, did a really good job. He was obviously out wide in heat number 4. He started really hot. Like, he was flying through the first 2-3 hurdles, and then just, I guess I don't know. I'm not a hurdler, so I don't really know how the mechanics of it go, but just over those last couple of hurdles, maybe just lost a little bit of speed towards the back end, but still pushed really hard to the line, was doing everything he could to get there. He ends up with a 13.95, so he did not progress through to the semi-finals, but not through a lack of effort. He threw the kitchen sink at it. He was awesome. So Chris Douglas, first international exposure in the senior level, I thought did a really good job. Now, our women's 100 metres, Bree Masters absolutely crushed the shit out of it. I thought she was awesome. She was in the last heat. She was heat 7 of 7. Came 5th in the heat and has a new PB to go with it. So if you're at a major championships, if you're not going to get through to the next round, the next best thing is to run a PB. Comes off with an 11.29. Just looked like she owned the spot, Bree Masters. Like, looked like that she'd competed internationally for years and years and years. This was her first senior experience. So she just looked cool, calm and collected. She just looked like that she was meant to be there and meant to make it through to the next round. Only misses fractionally by 0.12 of a second. But looked like she belonged the whole time. So Bree Masters was awesome in that women's 100 metres. Now, we move on to our final of the day. It was our men's long jump final. Now, I need to apologise in my post that I've made about this men's long jump final. I put down Henry Frame came 10th. I did upload that before the final jumpers went. So Henry Frame started with a foul. He was so close to being behind the board as well. It was only marginal that he actually missed it. Second round jump, he put himself into 8th place in the second round, and that was with a 780. So he was sitting 6th by the end of the second round. I think he was 8th to 10th. 780 on the board. He's an 830 jumper at his best. He's an 810 season best this year. So he was a little bit off that. And then the last jump, he just launched himself. Like, he just looked like he just wanted to get to the other side of the sandpit, and unfortunately fouled that one as well. So he was only left with his 780, and that pushed him to 12th position. But Henry, he's a world medalist in his past. Like, he is such a class competitor, and he just looked like he was having fun out there. Like, he was revving the crowd. You saw him get the clap going, and everybody was getting involved. He did it on every jump. I saw him talking to Marquise Dendy and a couple of the other American jumpers. He just looked like he was having a good time. And, like, that's what you want to see in athletics. You want to see people actually enjoying themselves. So I thought Henry Frame jumped really well. He ends up with a 12th. But, another final at a major championship. You tick that box. He'll now go on to Birmingham and see what he can do. But Henry Frame was awesome out there on the long jump. Now, our last two parts for Australian competitors, our 1500. Now, our 1500 pedigree is off its chops. I saw that comment earlier there. I think it was from Brady, who made the comment about Stewie McSween in the 1500. I'll get back to that. Yeah, Brady Hall did. So, Brady, you are absolutely right. I made this call about a year and a half ago when I was commentating Stu, but the man was smooth as butter again. Butter McSween was on display. Let's go to the first heat, though. Ollie Hoare, in-class competitor, not just in Australia, globally. Ollie Hoare has been absolutely smashing the door down of major competitions, and he came out and won the first heat. He did it with absolute ease too. Like, this man, don't worry about 4th, 5th, 6th gear. He just looked like he was in 3rd gear the whole way and just did what he had to do. Got himself to the front, eased it off with 10 metres to go. 3:36.17, wins the first heat. Just as cruisy as you want. He'll come out in the semis tomorrow, and watch for that, because there'll be fireworks in that semis. These boys are hella competitive. So In the second heat, as I mentioned, Butter McSween, he had a bit of a rough start to his European campaign, Stewie. Something that we're not used to seeing from Stu over the last couple of years either, but he's got himself right. From what I hear, he's been training absolutely phenomenally, and that's on display. He just did what he could. Just looked like he was in control. Just looked like he knew where he needed to be at all times. It was him versus Jakob Ingebrigtsen. These two go back and forth on social media a little bit, but they seem like good mates. By the end of this, I'm hoping I'm having a beer with Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Stewie, but we'll have to wait and see, I suppose. He's obviously got Com Games, and Jakob Ingebrigtsen has his European season, but Stewie, 3:34.91. That's a season best. So he runs his fastest time of the year, and that's the best time to do it. So well done to Stewie. Matty Ramsden, you cannot fault a step of Matty Ramsden's race. Like, honestly, he just, in that last 100 metres, everybody was going for it, and Rambo just didn't quite have the legs in the end, but tactically, you couldn't fault him. He put himself in every right position. He was out a little bit wider. He tried to stay out of the trouble. It was a little bit hectic behind him in the pack. There was a little bit of chop and change and everything going on, and he did an awesome job to stay out of it. He just couldn't quite get there. To put in perspective, Rambo was only Matt Ramsden, I should say, screw it. You know what? Rambo was only 0.4 seconds off making that semi-final. So you look at his time, and it was slower than the other heats, but in context of what was going on in that third heat, he was right in it. So he's only just missed. He's got another chance in the 5K later on in these World Champs. But Rambo's been I am such a Matt Ramsden fanboy. I think he's deserved to make teams before these ones, and the fact that he's out there now and he's competing, I love to see it. He's one of the greater men in athletics, and it was awesome to see Matt go out there and do his thing. I felt very proud watching I feel proud watching all the Australians, but Matt has, I just love Matty, so I love Rambo. It was good to see him. Unfortunately, doesn't make the final. Now, talking about class and talking about pedigree, our women's 1500 is, and I really apologise if you don't like swearing, but they are hot shit. They are hot to trot. These women are dominating the world. Jess Hull and Lyndon Hall went off in the first semi, and they both look so good. Like, that's the biggest takeaway. They both look good. Now, Jess Hull was able to follow on with it. Down that last 200 metres, she was just able to grit her teeth, do what she needed to do, finished in third. It was top 5 going through automatically, and then times after that. So she made it through. 4:01.81, nothing to sneeze at. Like, that's a fast time. I know she's a sub 4-minute runner, but she just looks so good. Like, she's an Oregon alumni. She's run at Eugene however many times. She's won national titles at Eugene. She's done everything at Eugene. She's obviously in that Union Track Club as well. Such a lovely girl as well. Honestly, making the final couldn't happen to a better person. So, Brady, I agree with you there. In the top 5, I genuinely believe, like, Jess Hull's ceiling, there is none. So you never know what she can produce in that final. She looks so good in the semis, and tactically she's a genius. Lyndon Hall, I thought she was tactically really smart as well in that semi-final. She just didn't look like she quite had that kick that she usually has. I don't know whether that was because it was a little bit choppy in that pack for a while, or whether it's just, the travel and everything that comes with it. But Lyndon didn't go down without a fight. Like, she was absolutely gritting her teeth and putting everything into it. And she came away with 9th in that semi. Again, like Matt, 0.4 off making that final. So yes, she was a little bit out of it, but that first semi was faster than the second. And she was just unfortunate. She didn't make the final, but she put in a hell of an effort, and Lyndon's always going to compete. She now goes to Birmingham. She can focus on that. I thought she was awesome. Now, Georgia Griffith in the second semi, the lone Australian in the second semi. It was a race that Georgia is so smart tactically. She can do it at the front. She can come from the middle of the pack. She knows how to run 1500s. Like, she ran World Juniors here in 2014. 2014. So, she's been here before. She's run at the Olympics. She's run at the Com Games. And she's done everything, Georgia Griffith, and which I think is underrated. I don't think that is talked about enough or known enough, that she is a high-class, high-pedigree athlete. And she showed that. If you watch the second semi, like, she showed that she's not to be messed with. Like, she's similar to, honestly, Jess in the ceiling of the final. They could wind up anywhere. They could both be in that top 5. They could both be pushing for a medal, realistically. Like, women's 1500 is in such good hands at the moment. It's insane. And she finished 4th in that second semi. And she comes through for a 4:05.16. She goes through to the final, does what she needs to do. She was awesome. The Aussie women were awesome. Even, like, I'm talking about generally through the day. Bree Masters was fantastic. The high jumpers were fantastic. It was just a great day for Australian athletics. And you can't knock effort. Like, you can't knock the Australian spirit that's on display here. Even in the stands, mate. Like, everyone's going nuts. Like, everyone just loves it. It's phenomenal. It's awesome to see. I'll give you all a brief recap because Jack Dalton, I'll go through it now. I'll go again. So women's 3,000 meter steeple, Amy Cashion missed by 0.4 of a second, 9:21 to her name. Brielle Urbacia, 9:40, 11th in her heat. Cara Fien Ryan, 11th and 9:41 in hers as well. Helena Patterson goes through without missing a height at 193. Nicola Olciegas, formerly McDermott, I'm butchering the absolute hell out of your last name. I'm so sorry, Nicola. 193 goes through, clutch third jump to get in. Nick Hoff makes it through to the men's 110 meter hurdle semis, 13:51. Chris Douglas misses out on a 13:95. Bree Masters PBs is an 11:29 and just misses out on making it through to those semis as well. Henry Frame entertained the crowd and jumped with a lot of joy. He finishes 12th in the men's long jump final, another final to his name. The three you're looking for here, Jack Dalton, Ollie Hall wins heat number 1, goes automatically through to the semis. Stewie Mack wins heat number 2, automatically through to those semis. And Matty Ramson was 9th in heat number 3, 0.04 off making the semis, but he will come back in that 5K, don't forget. I fanboyed over Matt Rambo, don't worry. The women's 1500 semis, which I was just talking about, they just absolutely launched themselves into the conversations of everything, realistically. Jess Hull, 3rd through to the final. Lyndon Hall was 9th, 0.4 off that final, doesn't progress. And Georgia Griffiths was 4th and straight through to the final as well. So 2 Aussie women in that 1500 metre final, 2 Aussie women in the high jump final as well. Henry Frame finishes his final. The boys go through to the semis. Nick Hoff through to the semis. And the women in the 3000 steeplechase did us so proud. So it's a great day for Australian athletics. Now, let me get into a few international things. I'm trying to keep these recaps brief for the podcast's sake, but I can't help it. Athletics is too good right now. The women's 10K, if you missed it, these women blew the absolute hinges off the door. They ran a 60-second last lap to close. 9 women, 9, including the American as well, Schweizer, who runs a PB. She was 9th and she ran 30:29. So 9 women under 30:30. That's insanity. Like, that is just insanely fast. I was talking to Ros Davies tonight, actually, and she was like, on my PB, keep in perspective how talented Ros is, and this isn't a knock on Ros. She's that good. This is how I'm saying it was blowing the hinges off the door. With Ros's PB, she would have just missed being lapped in that race. So these women were not messing about. It's one of the fastest world champ finals that we've seen in a long time. And it was an African 1-2-3 punch again. So the next one I'm going to move on to is the hammer throw. Now, I don't watch much of the men's hammer throw myself, and I'm not sure how much of the crowd does either, but again, sorry. The men's hammer throw, it was so sick to watch some of these big fellas yeet the absolute daylights out of this hammer throw. Poland dominates. Poland go 1-2. There's not many 1-2 punches that you see in global athletics, and Poland's done it in the hammer throw. The men were just launching the living hell out of it. Over 81 metres for both of them. It was insane. Now, the 100s, these are the last 2 things I'm going to touch on here. The 100s, Jamaican women own the 100, period. Full stop, no debate, no questions, no nothing. That's it, straight fact. 4 women go through to the semi-finals. Fraser Price and Thompson Harrar were actually just walking. They walked through. If you watch Thompson Harrar's heat, she could have blown a candle out. She was that chill. She didn't care. I was luckily standing amongst a bunch of Jamaicans, and they were absolutely like, it was like I was in some sort of football stadium. Like, it was insane. They were just they bring this passion and heat that you can't match. Got told off for swearing by a few Jamaicans, so that's something, I guess. But they own the women's 100. They are just too good. They are too fast. I'm putting it out here. I'm going to put a declaration out. All 4 women go through to the final. It's going to be like the men's 100. We're going to have 4 from one nation into the final, and potentially a sweep, which is what we're going to talk about right now. The men's 100 metres. It's Fred's world, baby. We're just living in it. So do not forget. I just want this to be known. Do not forget. The American public got on Fred Curley's back, don't forget, before the Olympics last year. Wondering why the hell he would give up the 400 to focus on the 100. Well, he went out and he got a silver medal at the Olympics. He's done one better today. Fred's world, baby. Travis Scott came down to watch Fred. That's how much of a celebrity he is now. He wins it. 1-2-3 punch. Curley, Bracey, and Bromell, all Americans, go 1-2-3. Haven't seen a 1-2-3 American punch in the 100 for years, so that was sensational. And you should have seen this crowd, mate. It was like, you could have heard a bloody pin drop beforehand. Every man and his dog was standing up. We had the fighter jets flowing over the top. It was making car alarms go off. It was that loud. It was insane. And the 1-2-3 punch, the Americans get it done. So that was it to cap off day number 2. It was unreal to give you all the coverage and bring everything to you. I will be making sure I'm in the stadium as much as I can. I'm getting my own tickets. I don't have any media accreditation, so I'm trying my best to get in there as much as I can. But yeah, it's been sick. It was a gnarly day. It was great to give you that coverage, great to bring you everything. If there's anything you guys really want to see as well, seriously, hit me up or hit Athletics Exclusive up. My name is Mitch Dyer on Instagram, or you got the Athletics Exclusive tag here. And just let us know, because we're here for you. We're here for the people. I'm doing what I can for you guys. And if you get sick of me, just let me know as well, because my voice gets pretty annoying. So thank you so much for tuning in. That's day 2 action of the Athletics. A big thank you as well to Super Boost. If you're looking for a new energy drink or sports drink in Australia, Super Boost is the way to go. So many elite athletes are jumping on it and brand ambassadors, so look them up, Super Boost on Instagram. Tastes unbelievable. I've had quite a bit of it myself, and I couldn't bring it here because we're not selling it in America yet, but get yourselves some Super Boost. It is phenomenal. Big thank you to Athletics Exclusive as well for backing me in to come here, and thank you so much to you guys for watching and staying engaged. So I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll be posting more stuff. I'm going to try and make the run with Stewie, Rambo and Jack in the morning, but again, I can't guarantee anything. So a big cheers to you guys. Have a great rest of your day in Australia, and that's Mitchy over and out. Catch you later.